Welcome to episode 42. I am Danielle Amos, and this is the Prosperity Practice, the podcast that helps you live your most abundant life. Today, I have a really special guest for you. This woman I'm honored to call her my friend, and though we met through my husband because she is an incredible actress. Her name is Victoria Atkin, and she is dialing in to join us from LA. And you're going to love Victoria. You're going to love her energy. And why I so appreciate Victoria is because she already studies mindset. So when her and I get together, we can talk for hours and hours about the material that you've heard me talk about here on the podcast. She is super successful. She has her own podcast called the Performance Capture Podcast. So we'll talk about that a little bit today. Also, she has been in shows like Extinct, Hollyoaks, and then she was my husband, Paul Amos's twin sister in the video game Assassin's Creed. And that's how I got to meet her. And she's got a ton of credentials. You can check her out on her website, which we'll post in the show notes. With that, I'd like to welcome Victoria to the Prosperity Practice. Hi, Victoria.
Hello, thank you so much. How great. We actually have some time now to talk about all of this stuff that we love talking about.
I know, and other people get to tune in and listen to us.
It's great. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here. I'd love to open up and just ask you about, have you always been into mindset, or when did that happen? Take us a little bit through your career with a lens of a mindset scope.
Yeah, so I guess I've always had a huge imagination as a kid, and I would look at things and things would be different to what everybody else saw. So it would be a shape of a tree, but I would see a bear, or I would, things would be huge, different things in my imagination. It was so broad, and I would play imaginary games when I was a kid non-stop. And that led me into wanting to be an actor, to just basically stay in this imaginary world and not have to really grow up. But until I actually joined a network marketing company that you were part of as well. And that's when I started actually becoming conscious of mindset. Before that, I was doing it, and I'd read The Secret, and different sorts of things like that were coming to me, but I wasn't fully conscious of what I was actually doing until probably 2009, 2010.
Isn't it really interesting how something like an opportunity like network marketing can come into our lives, be introduced to us, and then there's this like knock-on effect of, for you and myself too, I can relate to your story, introducing us to personal development and mindset work. And
I wish they would teach it in schools.
Oh, I know.
It would be amazing.
Yeah. Well, we're on our way. I think, with having conversations like this and opening them up, other people up to this work, I think we're getting closer and closer. I know we're getting closer and closer to that every day. Mm-hmm. So you were introduced through network marketing, and then you started applying the work to your professional career, or what did that look like?
I got so excited. I wasn't really very excited about the company and the products, but I was very excited about the reading that they wanted me to do for 10 minutes every day. So I just binged through so many different types of books, from Born Rich and The Compound Effect, Eat That Frog, all of these types of books. And I began just applying them to my life. So I would plan my day the night before. I would lay my clothes out. Different little things that just had this knock-on effect that made things easier for the next day. And I just was able to get loads more stuff done. And then I was using that and applying things that I'd learned in The Secret with visualization, and using my broad imagination as an actor to just jump on board into this imaginary world that I wanted for my future, and was living in it. And it's tricky when I would say I've come from a working middle class background, and it is hard to do that when it seems very absurd to the people around you. So nobody's ever not supported me, but I think trying to live my life in that way was a few different hurdles to overcome personally. having the confidence to go, I know this is the truth, I know this is the way.
So there's a few things I'd like to talk about. What and let's bring it back. So I'd love to hear, and for you to go on in a few minutes, about um, when you started applying the visualization, and to your career, and how that changed, and how you manifested the roles. And but right, you said something really important that I'd like to pick out for everyone that's listening. You mentioned that you have already a vivid imagination, and we know imagination's a muscle. And what I've noticed from my experience from working with many actors, yourself included, I remember our conversations and how incredible you were able to get into that space, meaning get into the visualization of you with the goal achieved, and how vivid you were able to describe it to me. And when I work with let's say more business type people, or people that maybe their imagination isn't as strong. So if it's a muscle, we either have a weak or strong imagination. And it makes sense that an actor would have a strong imagination because of your profession. But others that are listening that don't, they're going to need to work out that muscle to be able to create that visualization, that future memory in a way that's strong, so that they too can manifest more of what they want. So I'd love to hear if you have any tips on how they can engage their imagination, and maybe the progression of how you've experienced it for yourself, maybe how it got stronger. Because here's the thing, everyone's using their imagination, whether they know it or not. Most people are just using it against themselves.
Yeah.
So any tips on
My
that?
tips are, well, you've seen me with Elle and Skylar and kids.
Yeah.
Kids are the best people to be around.
Mm.
They have, and I have my 1-year-old son now, who is just teaches me about imagination even more than I have. But they are the best people to observe. And I think it's taking yourself back to that childhood state. It's being that free and looking at things with this curiosity of a child.
Mm.
A lot of us get stuck in this socialization. A lot of us get stuck, with screens and just jobs and chores and mortgages to pay and all this stuff that stresses us out. I mean, the first step is relaxation.
Mm-hmm.
You can't imagine or be anywhere without relaxing. So
And
I
how
do
do
a lot
you
of
relax?
meditation. I
What do
do
you
a lot
do?
of meditation.
Yeah.
um I follow an Indian yoga path, the Self-Realization Fellowship, and I try and do yoga when I can. It's been more difficult with my son, but we go out walking. I have a backpack with him and we go out walking, take in nature when we can, and just try and change my view. I look at different things, and nature has been the biggest thing. Exercise and meditation, taking lots of baths if I'm really stressed.
Yeah.
But just trying to, and also I think a great point that you mentioned, and I think a lot of entrepreneurial kind of business coaching people mention, is who you surround yourself with.
Oh yeah, huge.
It's really, it's so important. People, a friend of mine, she's an energy healer who I spend a lot of time with. She's about 72 years old, and she says to me, Victoria, you mostly spend time with old people and kids. I said, well, that's perfect. I said everybody in between I struggle with, but kids and old people are just easy peasy. They're in their own little worlds, and you can jump into their world, and they will always welcome you. But
That's so
everybody in the
cool.
middle is battling this. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we're battling life, we're going through it, and it doesn't have to be a battle, but most of the time there's something that comes up during the day, and I guess it's how you deal with it. And if you can deal with it like an old person who's got to, I loved my granddad, unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago, but he got to a place where he so just didn't give a shit about, sorry, sort of swearing on this one, but didn't care about things. He was just like, oh, whatever, it was so blasé. And then it's like my son, he just, if he doesn't want something, he just throws it away, it doesn't, it moves on to the next thing. He doesn't sit there and think, oh, am I going to offend this piece of toy if I throw it? No, he just throws it, and it's really interesting to see that. So yeah, I spend a lot of time with kids and old people, love them. But yeah, relaxation. And I don't do it all the time. I mean, it's always, I'm still learning so much stuff. I get hung up on different things. But yeah, having people that you can talk to, like I love talking to you, people like that, energy healer lady that I speak to, and my very, very close friends I can talk to about these different things, and I love it. I think you can know within a few minutes where somebody's at with this type of work. It's very interesting to see. And whether or not you spend time trying to explain it, I know for years I was trying to explain it to lots of people that just weren't at a conscious level where they were open to hearing it. So I began to realize, oh, actually, let's not waste this time. Let's just use more of this time to imagine and visualize and succeed, rather than trying to bring everybody along with me that maybe is not open to that or ready for that yet.
Yeah, that's good. I agree. I love how you brought in the children and watching, you know, your son, or you mentioned playing with my daughter Eloise or Chris's Skylar, like that. Yeah, when you say that, like I have really vivid memories of the games that you played and how you made like bananas telephones and, you know, but to your point, I mean, that ability to have fun and play and really create in the moment is so much what I do when I manifest. Like it has to have that feeling, which is really interesting. I haven't connected the dots till now. So you just gave me a really cool aha.
There you go. That's why I was talking to you today. I have to just check on Samuel 1 second. We'll just
Okay.
do a little pause.
Okay, so we were just talking about playing, and here is Samuel to join you. That's awesome. I love it. Oh, there he is. Hello, Samuel. So with your imagination, like what kind of tips can you give people who you know, might feel like they're not good imaginers? What would you say as an actress?
Okay, so I would say start small. Don't try and imagine yourself being a billionaire if you can't imagine yourself being a millionaire. Start small and build it up, because like you say, it is a muscle. You know, if you can dream about going on holiday in the country that you have, I think that's what I found. It's like, can I dream about, just take small steps and then you can build it up. I mean, I've never had this issue of trying to manifest my imagination, maybe, but trying to imagine, it's difficult to unpick that, because I feel like I'm very lucky to have that as a natural ability. But maybe having fun more, doing more things that are fun. You know, what did you do when you were a child? I know my friend that I was talking about, who's in her 70s, she has a bike. She goes bike riding 3 times a week. You know, she loves it. She loves to go on her bike. Play football if you haven't played football in a while, or go play tennis with somebody, or, you know, even just playing a board game in the evening with your family or friends, or I don't know, something that's silly and fun. Try and find that silly place, and then your imagination will be right there.
Yeah, that's cool. What about let's talk about now, because you now teach actors, right, through your courses. So what have you noticed with teaching other actors, and maybe we talk a lot in this work about helping people first they develop their character of themselves with their goal achieved, and then we teach them how to step into that character. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts on how you step into a character, how you become that character, and then even what you've noticed with working with other people and their own beliefs. And
yeah, it's been interesting for me. So performance capture is a medium of how Paul and I made Assassin's Creed. So it's, if people don't know what it is, it's a hybrid between TV, film, and theatre. And we put dots on our faces and wear performance capture suits, and it's how a lot of the video games are made these days. Yeah, that's right, Samuel. So yeah, these things are made, and but what I found is, oh, hold on. what I found is that a lot of people, even really good TV and film actors, they come onto the performance capture stage and there's nothing to use. We don't have any props or costume or set, and we have to imagine the world. So what I do is a lot of research. So for your clients, I guess it would be to really research into, so I had to, for Assassin's Creed, I had to imagine what Victorian London would be like, and to be an assassin at that time, you know. So I went to Beverly Hills Library. I'm getting my hair brushed at the moment by Samuel. It's nice, thank you. I had to go to Beverly Hills Library and I got loads and loads of pictures. And I just sat there with them for hours and just studied them and looked at them and imagined being in there. You know, so if people want to go on a holiday, get the brochures out, you know, start doing that. Start, you know, actually something that was very interesting is I wanted to create my family. I'd been on my own for a while, as you know, and I was getting lonely and I didn't know what to really do, but I applied The Secret. I saved half of my wardrobe, was free, and I started buying baby clothes when I didn't have a baby.
I love it.
And you know, within a year and a half I had my partner and my baby, and bingo. It was really super fast, but I realized living in a studio I wasn't going to build a family. So I had to upgrade my apartment and upgrade my wages and start doing things that would cultivate that space for them.
Love it.
But yeah, starting small and getting silly. That's what we need to do. Childlike.
And then surround yourself with what I call like triggers, you know, things that can have you remember or be reminded of the goal. So you said like brochures from a holiday vacation, or
yeah, I have a life board too, so I always have the images that I want to see in front of me at all times.
I love it.
So life boards are really, really important.
Yeah, agreed. So cool. So just before we wrap, I thought it was interesting. Before we jumped on, Victoria and I were chatting and about her courses, because she does teach quite a few actors. And if you are an actor or an aspiring actor, check out the Performance Capture podcast, because she does so much work in this field. And there's actually quite a bit of work, especially now with the way COVID, I would imagine.
I've never worked more than I'm working during COVID. I can't believe it. Well, I can believe it, but it's interesting. I'm working from home as a voice actor. You know, at home we can earn so much money from our house. You know, and I get to be with my son. And yeah, performance capture, because there's no props or costume or set, you're not touching anything or anyone. We're producing. I mean, animation is one of the highest grossing things right now. And it's working during COVID. So yeah, I'm getting people in my classes to do weekly workouts, training as voice actors and performance capture actors, to make sure that they're not you know, using their audition as a practice, that they're actually using their audition to book the job. So they come and work with us in groups of 6 on Zoom, and yeah, that's what they do, don't they, Samuel? Yeah. There you go. So that's what we do. But that's victoriaatkin.com/classes. And the podcast is victoriaatkin.com/podcast.
Awesome. Well, we'll share the link in the show notes for everyone. Before we chatted, you were talking about how you noticed, we were talking about talent versus mindset.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was really interesting, because, you know, often I hear people will have a dream to be an actress or to be a singer, and they're like, well, I don't have enough talent. And I say to people, you don't need the talent. Actually, you're going to develop that.
No, it's 100% true. I went to the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama, and I auditioned in 2005 for the main course when I was 18. And I didn't get in. I got recalled, but I didn't get my place. They told me I was too young and I needed to get some experience. So I went off to university, and then I came back and did my master's degree there in 2009. There was only probably, I think there's 28 of us in the year. And I'm not saying I'm not talented. Obviously I have talent. But there were some extremely talented people in my year group. So I was definitely not the best singer, and I was definitely not the best dancer. I was probably one of the better actors. But that said, I definitely wasn't the most talented in my year, but I have been able to build a career, which as an actor, you know, in our fields, I know a lot of my peers haven't been able to have the same success. So I definitely think it's down to mindset rather than talent.
Yeah, and I think what I think is that it's important, obviously, like it's important to have the talent, obviously, and I know that you're very talented, like you say, and there is talent involved. But what's interesting is, I think, desire. Like, you've got to really want it. It doesn't matter what the goal is, the career. So, and desire is something that comes from within, right? And we can cultivate it, we can strengthen it, but you have to make the decision that this is like, no matter what, I'm doing this. And I know, like, you know, like I said, because of Paul, I've worked with quite a few actors, and one thing that I love about you, Victoria, is that you are so on purpose. Like, and you're so, I just really
I can't help it. I mean, my sister says to me, I don't know how you can get rejected so many times and still keep doing your career. And I say to her, for me, to get up and be an actor every day is a blessing. And I know this sounds quite dramatic, but I couldn't do anything else. And there's just no other option for me. I wrote down in a diary that I had when I must have been 6 or 7 years old, when I just started to learn to write. And I wrote, I will be an actress. I want to be an actress. And I'd spell actress wrong. I'd spell ACTRISS. But I've been very lucky to know what I wanted to do for a long time. But yeah, it is on purpose, and it's something. Hey, cutie, what's happening here? We're talking about you and your imagination. Oh, good. Well, yeah, that's it's very on purpose, and I think most people that are probably finding you are doing careers that they love, but just want to increase their prosperity in it. And I say good luck to everybody in their chosen field.
Thank you. Well, yeah, it's interesting. It's mainly we're just finding people that want to live a more abundant life, you know, that want things to be easy and come with flow. So I am so grateful for your time, Victoria, and helping us to really understand imagination, and even thinking about, you know, how playful we are. I know that's really hit me. So, like, I'm about to knock on my daughter's door to see how I can have a few minutes.
Elle's favorite game with me was mermaids. Go be a mermaid. You need to go. This is how extreme you've got to go. You got to get a wig, put that on, a tail, and you got to imagine all of that stuff. Your scales, everything.
I love it.
She believes it. If kids believe it, then your imagination is spot on. If they don't believe it, you're not there yet.
And think about that, how much focus that takes too. Like, I was like, oh man, like that's something on my part, but that's the thing. We've got to be willing to do it.
If you don't believe that you have scales and long hair and you live in the ocean, Elle will never believe you.
And
the
love it.
universe won't believe you.
Yeah, that's a good test. There you go. So go play mermaids with your kids. To all the parents that are listening, and when the kids believe you, so does the universe. So that's where we'll end it.
Wow, I didn't know I had so much wisdom inside.
Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us. And if you have any questions for myself or Victoria, or if you think of someone that this podcast would resonate with, please send them a link and reach out to both of us on Instagram. And we're here to answer your questions and help. I want to thank you in advance for sharing. And with that, I say expect abundance.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.